Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 526, recorded live on Saturday, July 14th. I'm your host, Patrick. Joining me this week, we have Evennote. Welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. We also have a guest who hasn't been on in a while. I think his clay form softened out a little bit, so he got to join us today. Axel.
Hey, what's up, Patrick? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome back. Our resident cleric expert.
Yeah, maybe. I try. I don't know everything.
Closest thing we have to one, anyways. Yeah, welcome back. It's been a while, and you took a little bit of a break, but you're back, and back making some videos as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So, thought we'd get you on the show because we're going to talk a lot about a fair bit about kind of the divine aspects with update 39. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. First, our screenshot for the week. There was no screenshot this week. However, a player did pick out this very fine splash screen that, yes, is actually in the Lammania build. And the dev fans wrote in and said they originally planned on having some different art for White Plume specifically. So he put in an obvious placeholder load screen. Unfortunately, it was replaced internally. So enjoy this hand-drawn masterpiece while it lasts. That we will, sir. That we will.
So great.
See, that would have been the one thing that would have convinced me to get on Lammania.
Yeah, it's pretty slick. They should totally do some of that stuff more often because that is hilarious. If you're listening to the podcast version and not where you can actually see the video of this and you haven't seen the screenshot, you should definitely go find it on the forums in the Lammania dev tracker. You can find it. So, in any case, we like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website, DDOCast.com. DDOCast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be next Saturday or Sunday. You can stay updated by following us on social media pages or our website, DDOCast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, we got a little bit of community news, but the big highlight this week is Update 39 had its second preview. So we'll spend most of our time talking about that. And then also, at the back half of this, we'll be talking, we'll have our segment that we recorded a couple weeks ago, going to part 3 of our Slayer areas discussion with Evilbeeker. So you want to stay tuned for that. But anyways, let's jump into the game news. There's a fair bit of it. Our goal is to be done in an hour, so make the whole show about an hour and a half. So yay for goals.
We'll see if it happens.
Yeah, I think we can do it. In any case, Update 39, Preview 2, hit Lammania. So we've already talked about the first iteration, so I'm going to generally skip some of the stuff, but these guys might jump in for something they want to talk about that we've already kind of hit on a newsworthy note. We just want to make sure we give more people time to talk about stuff. So, but just some of the stuff that highlights. So we'll go through this in kind of different bunches. The first one is just kind of the general release notes. So followers of more recent deities now properly get DR when they reach level 20. So that would be Arion, which is Cold Iron, Blood of Vol, which is good, Helm, which is Adamantine, Oladra, and Onatar are Cold Iron, and Sylvanus is Silver. So those that would be the divine folk. I think, is that just favorite souls? I think it's just favorite souls, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I wasn't even that familiar with it. Maybe I don't know.
I think it's just the favorite souls. When they get to level 20, they get DR, and so there's some new deities, and so they're.
Yeah, I don't remember clerics getting that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't remember clerics having that either.
Yeah. Let's see, monks, their Henshin Mystic, cores 2 through 5 now list the correct amount of melee power in their tooltips. I always wish when they wrote these notes that they would tell you if it went up or down. Which is it? What's the correct number, right? Like,
well, if it went down, they probably don't want to point it out.
Well, people know. Like, people don't.
Yeah,
know.
No, they do. They do.
Yeah. So, Grim and Barrett, they fixed a typo, and also a secret door can no longer be detected by all, or I think it's supposed to be a secret door can now be detected by all appropriate methods instead of just some. Oops. This one, I think, we're going to sit on this one for a moment. Curse of Strahd. Strahd's chamber is now a no D-door zone. I'm okay with that from a technical standpoint. But boy, I wish they would compensate that by moving the shrine to the top of the staircase at the same time. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with Strahd. But
yeah, not really.
I'm usually the person at the top of the steps on the other side of the barrier intiming like crazy.
well,
And
see,
I kind of like doing that.
That's not going to change. Like, you could still do that. This is not going to change that, actually. Which I think you could be trying to address that, and this isn't going to work. There's some places where I can understand why maybe you don't want DDOR to work. The issue I have with taking DDOR as a function out of the quest is the shrine. There's only one shrine in this quest, and you can only access it after the very first fight, which is the shortest and easiest phase. So it feels to me like by not being able to use the shrine after the staircase section, you're going to have people challenge themselves less because the resource cost will suddenly become a lot greater because you have to get through that whole section before you get to the cards and then the end fight. So what I'd really like to see them do is, if they're going to make this change, is move the shrine to the top of the stairs. Because otherwise I think it's... I don't think the quest is... The shrine aspect of the quest is designed well enough to not be able to get to that shrine after the staircase.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But other than that, I don't have an issue with taking out DDOR as an option. I don't know that I really like it, and I don't think it's going to... I don't think it's really going to fix an issue of people intimating through the barrier, because this doesn't actually prevent that. It just makes it marginally harder, is all. So, let's see. Other stuff. The cornerstone of previously frustratingly unbreakable objects can now be broken. King's Forest had some aesthetic work done, and the Quarry Forge key from Bring Me the Head of Golafine can now be destroyed to prevent it from being stuck in your inventory. Thank you. That'd be annoying.
I have a stupid question. Aesthetic work in King's Forest. I mean, I thought King's Forest looked pretty good. Why don't they fix the string table errors instead of the appearance?
Yeah, that's pretty general. I wonder specifically what they did. Maybe you'd have to
I did have a
there.
guilty. My guilty suggested maybe there's that one cave that looks like it should go somewhere, and it's just like this empty black space. So maybe they changed that. But that seems like, why bother?
Sure.
Right.
Let's see. The on-spell cast damage effects from Lantern Ring and Resonation are less likely to apply to allies now. I hope that includes Shirati, too. That's always a good thing, right? Your damage spells not applying to your friends.
Tends to be. Unless you want to troll.
Yeah. Named items that dropped in the Red Fens will be bound to a count instead of bound to a character. That's only the ones that drop after the update, not the ones that already exist. So, let's see. They did some particle effect work on the Ginny and Afridi. When they die, the particles will now die with them. Evening Star has some aesthetic work. There are new options for the mysterious remnant vendors. Evennote, please mute your microphone so the squee of glee doesn't deafen people here until after I'm done. There are 12 new cosmetics. There's 2 cosmetics helms, Crimson and Verdant Crowns of Waves. There's the Zorian Cultist Robe and Lighter Zorian Cultist Robe. There are, let's see, a Crayfish pet, a Red, Blue, Ghost, and Galaxy Crayfish pets as well as treats for them.
Now, what is a Galaxy Crayfish?
It's a beautiful crayfish that looks like a galaxy.
Is it like, does it have a little universe on its shell or something?
Good question, right?
I'm guessing
I'm
that's
just curious.
probably what it is.
That's the one I'm curious.
It'll be like maybe like dark blue with sparklies all over it. But yes, I already knew that, so my main squee happened about a week ago. But yeah, I definitely did squee.
I mean, that we know
why they picked crayfish.
Yeah,
that has something to do with White Flame Mountain.
Interesting, isn't it? Maybe. I don't know. That's...
Well, there's also going to be, as part of the extra stuff, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but a crab, and you would expect to find crabs and crayfish in similar habitats. So I hate to say this, I'm not that familiar with White Plume Mountain.
Yeah, I'm
So,
not either.
maybe.
That's okay. All right, so that's the basic notes. Anything you guys wanted to call out or you had a comment on in here?
It's nice that they give people new stuff to do with the mysterious remnants. I know that's something people always complain about, so that's
Because
good.
they don't have enough
I like the
characters,
cosmetics.
so they
Like
don't need enough tomes.
right.
If you only have one character, yeah, you run out of things to do with the remnants pretty quick.
The two things that jumped out at me was, first of all, and I know this has already gone around, but yay, finally an update for Blacklock. And the other thing is like the almond-coated shadow apples and dark swirl caramel bites now grant festive bonuses as described. Well, they were actually supposed to vanish at the end of last year, so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think I don't think I've checked in a while, but if I recall correctly, it said that they were going to expire at the end of the year. They didn't go away until the next fall when it came out. You had to re-get them then. But the new ones had the same, still said it's going to expire at the end of last year.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
probably just forgot to update the description.
They might have updated it now then. But I think it's kind of established that they're just going to let them go throughout the year, which is fine. They're not horribly game breaking or anything. It's 1 hour on, 1 hour off, anyways.
Yeah, I feel like they've done that before. Like when they first replaced Maybar, I think they did that as well. If I remember correctly, the first year, they just let it go for a while, even though they were pretty dead set on cutting those off. Yes, sir.
The one thing I did want to mention, in case some people skipped the last time we talked about Update 39, Reapers no longer erroneously slow melee attack speed, which I think is a big thing for melees. Kind of evens the board a little bit there. All right, Barbarian adjustments. This is a new thing. So with Update 39, a very quick collection of changes to Barbarian are expected to go live. It's not a revamp by any means. It's primarily a collection of numerical value alterations that became large enough to line item that it seemed to warrant its own thread. It's not meant to change Barbarian gameplay. It's simply meant to put them in line with other dedicated melee classes that our data showed us they had fallen behind in a way we could rectify in a simple manner that could be fit into the development schedule in a way that an actual revamp of the tree would not happen. The gist of these changes is Barbarians should now be capable of outputting damage closer to other dedicated melees, and one of their defining class features, their damage reduction, is no longer massively outscaled by content. Yes. The damage reduction, that feature. Barbarian DR no longer gives, quote, classic damage reduction, like in old 3.5. To give an idea what that is like, here's, at cap, it was like, here's 11 DR or something, I don't think it was even that much. When you're reducing 11 points of damage from things that are doing 500 points of damage, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, I know that's something people have commented on for a long time. That's really good. I'm glad they finally started scaling these abilities.
So instead, Barbarians now start with a 5% damage absorption to all damage except for Bane. Hot diggity. That's awesome. This resistance is increased at levels Barbarians normally got DR increases by 1%. A net of, so by level 20, that's a net of 11%. This is all before PRR or MRR. This is pretty slick so far. Enhancements to the Barbarian Occult Slayer line increase this by 1%, for a total of 4% available in the tree. Also, the Fury of the Wild passive damage reduction increases this absorption by an additional 1, 2, or 3%. Some of that stuff is not applied correctly yet. However, if you had the 5th core in Occult Slayer and a Tier 2 Fury of the Wild ability and were a pure Barbarian, you could absorb 18% damage to all damage except for Bane damage. That's pretty darn good. Might be too good.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Yeah, that sounds really awesome.
A lot better than what they have, that's for sure. We'll see if that pendulum swings back towards the mean.
Might have to hop back on my Barbarian I've ignored for like a year.
Yeah, that's pretty great stuff. Let's see. So some adjustments in Frenzied Berserker. Cracking attack no longer costs hit points, and the cooldown is reduced to 12 seconds. It also now reduces fortification by 5, 10, or 12 or 20%. That's pretty helpful. Crazy Strike now grants an extra half, 1, or 2 weapon extra damage. Focused Wrath now grants +1 or 2 competence bonus to critical multiplier, and now also costs only 1 action point per rank. The Ravager tree, hate now deals 1, 2, or 3 weapon damage and has a cooldown of 6 seconds. Mutilate now has a 10-second cooldown per monster on proccing its charisma damage because you can use hate more frequently now. Slaughter's cooldown is now 12 seconds. I believe that is down, but I'm not positive. Critical Rage is also now +1 or +2 competence bonus to critical threat range, and it now costs 1 action point per rank. The Cult Slayer, Weapon Bond's active cooldown is now 20 seconds. It now costs 1 Weapon Bond and grants a +5 unique bonus to attack. Parry Bond and Guarding Bond's bonuses are now unique. Vicious Strike now deals 1, 3, or 5 weapon damage, is now 1 action point per rank. The Anti-Magic Boost now gives +10, 20, 30 action boost to MRR in addition to its existing effects. Driving Force now costs 30, 20, or 10 weapon bond, lasts for 20 seconds, and adds 5, 10, 20 MRR in addition to its existing effects. Seeker Strike now deals +3, 5, or 7 weapon damage, costs 20 weapon bond, is also now 1 action point per rank. And Occult Metalline now grants a +1 competence bonus to critical threat range and critical multiplier in addition to its existing effects. Occult Metalline now costs 2 action points. Now, at this point, you might say, hey, these things you're talking about that are providing a competence bonus to criticals, they already do that. Yes, you are correct. However, those bonuses are currently locked by the ability Rage. That is no longer the case. You get them now all the time instead of just while you're raging. Steelstar chimed in and said this change was not made for the purposes of making multi-class builds more compelling. It was made to make barbarians not suddenly be much worse than other melee classes when they run out of rage counters. They talked about a long time about whether to continue to lock their crits behind raging, but ultimately doing so is worse for most barbarians. Helping barbarian splashes is a halo of making barbarians themselves better. There's a lot of talk about this is gonna make multi-class builds too good, yada yada yada. I would say my own feelings on the matter are I don't think so. Mostly because you're looking at a lot of other places that a lot of other trees get competence bonuses, critical threat range, and critical multipliers already, and you can't stack them. So I don't see a problem. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, my barbarian is fine with this.
Yeah, I see the counter argument because rage is the big flavor thing for barbarians, and if you take some of their major DPS bonuses out of that, it might hurt the flavor a little bit, maybe homogenize a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really know enough about barbarians to really say, but can kind of envision the other side at least.
My quote main character for a long time was a barbarian. I don't really play him as much now. But I think there's a lot of value in what he's saying, right? That if you have to be raging to unlock these critical bonuses that almost every other all the other melee classes get. I mean, geez, even like Favorite Soul is getting some of this stuff too, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't have to rage just to catch up.
Exactly.
To other classes. It should feel like a bonus. Yeah. For sure.
Right.
It shouldn't feel like a requirement to have active at all times just to be competitive. Definitely.
So
I agree with you there.
I think this is a lot better, and I understand the concern with the multi-class thing, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Because if that's what you're looking for, you can multi-class in a bunch of other trees and get this bonus too. So
right, and they can always make changes later if it becomes a problem.
Yeah,
but I don't think it will either.
Update 39, loot. A couple of updates here. Echo of the Black Razor got keen. They also did a little bit of, I think they just renamed the effect that protects you from mind-altering stuff to Psychic Ward. It also got a red augment in addition to its orange augment slot. Echo of Wave got a red augment slot. Echo of Wilm got a red augment slot, which is pretty nice because it's a one-hander that has 2 augment slots, so that's pretty nice. Let's see, what else changed in here? Brimstone Boulder's Warden's Clothing. I think that was a new item, as well as Crushing Capital, I think, was also a new item. So Morningstar and a robe, for those looking for that kind of stuff. Some other stuff with loot. Crystal Cove. Crystal Cove has been changed slightly to make it much easier for participants to earn the event items, which include a few new weapons and redesigned favorites. The cove itself now scaled up to level 35. I believe it previously only scaled up to 30. And a new tier of gem drops at the highest levels. Turn those new gems in for level 28 versions of the cove's loot. When the event is underway, you can speak to Euphonia to exchange any old items for new versions, but any augments or sentient gems won't be transferred to the new version. In the event itself, the rare tier of gems no longer drop, and items no longer require rare gems to acquire. Furthermore, you can rather than upgrade each item tier, each item out of the box is fully upgraded. If you'd like to use a legacy version of the Cove loot, you can find the old turn-in a dusty corner in the tavern in Smuggler's Rest. Which does beg the question, if you still need the gems that no longer drop, can you still do that? It might be a bit of a problem.
No.
Okay, I have a billion of the gems that no longer drop. Are they good for anything still?
Also a good question. Possibly to get the old legacy versions?
Besides old legacy loot, which I don't think I want any of that anyway. I've got so damn much of it.
See, there were a couple changes. So the ornamental dagger had its, it now has combustion, gelation, and magnetism. That was all kind of greatly changed. So the combustion line, it starts out with combustion, glaciation, and magnetism. At the end, it actually gets potency, spell lore, and lesser maximized clicky. So it really changes a lot in how that works. I think that's to make it better at lower levels. It also was given an orange augment slot. The Ring of the Buccaneer now has good luck on it as one of its abilities. The Treasure Hunter Spyglass, this was one of those that was very controversially changed. And again, I'll say you can get the legacy item still. Assuming you can figure out the gem problem, if it is a problem. However, it now does intelligence, and it first scales as up to level 16, up to level 12, it's just intelligence. After that, it becomes insightful intelligence, up to +8 at level 28. It also has exceptional astute skills and exceptional prudent skills, which I believe are the intelligence and wisdom skills. So search and spot are kind of the ones that it's capturing there. Then it also has detect secret doors or true seeing, depending on where you're at. The utility vest got a blue augment slot, as did the full plate of the ringleader. And the Ring of Elemental Essence now does corrosion in addition to glaciation, combustion, and magnetism. So it does all 4 elements as well. There you go. Any comments on the loot before we move on into Favorite Soul and War Priest changes?
Nope.
I don't think so.
All right. Favorite Soul and War Priest stuff. So the War Priest and War Soul, both the Cleric and Favorite Soul versions are Righteous Wrathful weapons no longer gives out a +1 enhancement bonus at each tier. Instead, when wielding your favorite weapon in your main hand, you get a +1 to hit and damage and +3 universal spell power. Note that you have to have your favorite weapon in your hand. That is also true at Tier 3 and Tier 4 and Tier 5. Although at Tier 5, it's +3 to hit and damage and +9 to spell power. So.
Yeah, as far as I understand it, they made that change because back before they made the item changes, now correct me if I'm wrong, but back before they made the item changes, I think several updates ago, they used to get an impellent bonus from an enhancement bonus. But since they made that change, you weren't getting that now, so they just went ahead and added it on. So
makes sense. Divine Vessel. They changed it so that when Divine Conduit reaches 25, all stacks are cleared and you gain 1 charge of an attack. You may continue to gain stacks, so Divine Conduit will not gain another charge until you expend the existing one. You can pick either a melee or a ranged one. The melee one is a sweeping attack against all enemies for +5 weapon damage. I'm not sure what the ranged one is because it kind of glosses over that. But affected enemies are still hit by a meteor, and all that stuff hasn't changed. Also, the Divine Vessel visual has been completely remade. Woohoo! More visuals.
yeah, if I'm understanding that correctly, I think they made it so you can now save those stacks and then
Yes.
use them whenever you want instead of it going, because it used to go off just automatically when you got to 25. So that's
Well,
good.
it's still
Yeah, I like that.
you can only have one. So if you stack up
Right.
to it again, I don't know what's going to happen, but you're not going to get a second one charged up.
Right.
So you want to use it.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah. You can't store it, but at least now if one enemy that only had a few HP left,
Yeah,
hits you,
sure.
and you waste it instead of using it in a better situation. So.
Mm-hmm. I think it's better just in general. Angel of Vengeance, the Core 5 part has had a +1 dispel DCs added. Also, so this is the one that when you fall below a certain percentage of health, you get a bonus. That bonus now persists even if you're healed above those thresholds. But each can only trigger once every 2 minutes, so it doesn't just continually click over. But you get to keep it after you get healed. So I think that was mostly in response to people saying, "Hey, we don't like things that, in order to make ourselves better, we have to be almost dead." Just fair. So.
Yeah, it would be stupid to
Right.
build for something that only helped you if you were nearly dead.
Yeah, and I think they made a similar change to what was it, the half-work enhancements?
I don't know if
When
they
was that?
changed that yet.
Did they not? Okay.
I don't think so. I don't remember seeing
Okay.
anything. But it has the
I thought
same
they'd increased those
flavor
tiers.
thing.
Yeah, I thought they increased that a little bit a few updates ago. I could be wrong though.
The theory there is that you're having something that helps you kind of prevent you from dying. Like, that's their theory. The problem is players tend to read that and say, "Oh, I get to be way better if I'm almost dead," but I don't want to just like hover at the almost dead standpoint. And that's not really what you're trying to go for. So by having it trigger only once every 2 minutes, there's no reason to stay down that low, anyways. Also, ameliorating strike. So that should not be inherently much better for 2 open fighting characters or range with improved precise shot characters than other War Priest or War Sword builds. To fix that disparity, that now can only proc on once per use. So if you hit more than one character or one thing, it's not going to affect more than one monster. This was not a popular change, but the reason why they're doing this is basically it's so much better if you have 2 up and fighting and can hit multiple monsters, or if you have improved precise shot, that it kind of becomes a question of why people are going to feel like they have to use it with those abilities, or it's going to be so much less effective, which is why they made that change.
Yeah, they could have just made it better for 2-handed fighting though, instead, and balance it out. I don't know.
Well, it's single-handed fighting. I guess it's 2-weapon fighting.
I think it's 2-weapon fighting. It got the double proc, I believe.
In any case, I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, they had to. I understand flying them out. So yeah, whatever.
I'd like to see them kind of buff it a little, maybe do something to kind of, instead of bringing everything down to like the lowest common denominator, maybe like try to find a middle ground that would work better.
Yeah, I think if they would have just made it, I guess, better for 2-handed fighting, it wouldn't have been overpowered. But I still kind of understand, where they're coming from. So
yeah, their theory is sound. I'm not sure I like the solution.
This is not an ability. Yeah, when you look at abilities that kind of needed some work, I didn't think this was one of it. It's okay if they, I think, reduce this a little bit. I mean, there's going to be plenty of other healing abilities, especially when what they put in with the new favored soul healing tree. So I think it's okay.
Yeah, so let's just take a moment. What do you think about the cleric favored soul kind of tweaks and changes here?
I'm mixed on it. I mean, there's some good stuff. They did make it a lot more appealing to splash in the tree. Like, they moved some. I think they added double strike. What, tier 3 or tier 4? I think it was 10% double strike. So that's cool. They brought some tier 5 abilities down to tier 3, like the magical backlash, which I always thought was a really cool ability. It's like you can get up to 30% chance to basically do a command spell on a caster just passively, and without a save, by the way. So that's really cool. But I guess my main criticism of the tree would be that I still don't feel like there's enough reason to go like all out, like level 20 War Priest and really specialize in the tree. That's my one complaint, but I do think they did a good job of making a lot of cool things in there for people to splash with. So, and it is more competitive, definitely, than it used to be. So
Yeah, I think it's
Yes.
improved. I think there's still room for improvement, but there's steps in the right direction.
Right.
I'm really interested to see how the Beacon of Hope tree plays, and if people like how much use it gets by people, and kind of see what the. It's interesting to see what happens at the metagame level, right? Like, do people
Yeah.
really go for it for the buffing and that kind of a thing, and then kind of where do people land on how much they like it? So, it'd be kind of fun to see.
Yeah, with the favorite soul healing tree, that's one where it looks really good if you can handle playing it. Like it looks like
Sure.
like it looks like the number of keyboard actions per minute required is going to be just nuts. Like if you want to play it optimally. So it's I don't
Yeah.
know. It's one I'd have to like play it for a while to see if my if my wrist can handle it.
Yeah, I have
Basically.
a
But it
similar
looks
problem
really
with
good.
Monk.
Yeah, I mean it looks like potentially if you play it right, it could be like the best healing, maybe even best buffing tree in the game. Like it looks
Sure.
really good. It's just a matter of I don't know how practical everything is though. There's a lot of stuff to hit, a lot of stuff to click.
People who are more coordinated than I will probably find a very great use for it.
Right.
If they choose to do so. Kind of the big question, right? We'll see. We'll see what it does, right? There was
Yeah, but it looks really
a
good though. Yeah.
there was a note that people that were backing up were like essentially backing themselves out of the beacon range too quickly. So they were going to work on that a little bit, but there's probably always going to be if you're moving so fast and moving backwards when you hit Beacon of Hope, it won't affect you. Something to kind of be aware of with the playstyle, but I think people get used to that. All right, another piece that's new, and this is kind of exciting, the Falconry Universal Enhancement Tree. This is kind of interesting. It's an interesting tree.
It's very interesting. I kind of like when I was like, wow, like when I saw it, I'm like, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah. So the
I
Falconer
also had a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
The
Sorry.
Falconer Universal Tree is expected to be released with Update 39. It's not specific to any one class. Anyone can use it. It's mostly martial, but has a touch of primal magic at the top end. The intense training required to bond with and fight with these birds of prey also hones the character's perception and ability to make pinpoint attacks. So, you can train in falconry. That's basically you get a bird. So you get a bird of prey, generally the dire version of a normal bird, to make extra attacks on opponents. It's designed to provide fewer big hits. The hunting bird swoops to attack seconds after you've made your weapon attack to provide extra damage and certain status effects. Gameplay flow is meant to be methodical and precise. You can choose between 5 cosmetically distinct but mechanically identical birds of prey. You summon the hunting bird with a toggle. Once summoned, the hunting bird does not act like other pets currently. It cannot be attacked. It cannot be killed while you live. It cannot generate hate. And as a result, it does not benefit from effects that grant bonuses to summon creatures. Its attacks are coordinated. You kind of get an idea of what that means as we get through the tree. The exact distribution method of this tree is not yet decided. However, it is currently intended to be unlocked for all characters on an account that has purchased the White Plume Mountain bonus items. We'll come back to that from the DDO store. We don't need to worry about how to access on Lammania because Lammania is over. All right, so the cores. Core 1, you get a bird. And +2 to spot and listen. The birds you can choose from are a falcon, a white falcon, a gray owl, a snow owl, and a raven.
Sadly, no owlbear.
Wouldn't that be? I was hoping for.
Owlbears can't fly.
That was my first
so.
reaction. I know it wouldn't make any sense, but it would just be really funny to give you that option.
A pseudo dragon could have worked.
Yeah.
Or maybe a griffin or a tressium or something like that. Not really birds, but anyways. The second core is a +1 to an ability of your choice. Tier 3 core is well-rounded. You get +3 melee and ranged power, and PRR and MRR, and a +2 spot and listen. At 5, at core 4, you get another ability increase. Choose which one you want. 5th core is +6 to melee and range power, PRR and MRR, and a +4 to spot and listen. And the 6th core, the capstone, is +2 to all ability scores and benefit from the spell Freedom of Movement. And your active falcon attacks have a chance to reset the cooldown on death from above, which we'll talk about in a minute. Tier 1, rugged, is a 2, 4, or 6 PRR. Practiced accuracy, you get + to hit and + to confirm critical attacks. Hunter's knowledge, you get animals as favorite enemies. Out in nature, you get 5, 10, or 15 healing amplification. Probably one of the better things in this tree. This is tier 1 too, so that's pretty easy to kind of swing in. Wanderlust, you get +1 or up to +3 bounce, jump, and swim. And on the 3rd rank, you get a +1 to fortitude saves. Tier 2, here's where the fun stuff starts. Killer Instinct 1, you can use your Wisdom modifier to hit with melee and missile weapons. There you go, folks. Wisdom to hit and damage. Well, Wisdom to hit. We'll get to the damage part.
Yeah.
Also, watch the center. You can get up to a +3 to assassinate DCs, which really strikes me as odd in a Wisdom tree, but it has a reason. The diving attack, you and your hunting bird attack as 1 against a single target, activates this ability for up to +3 weapon damage against a single target. Your hunting bird will follow up with an additional up to 10d6 damage. It scales with 200% of melee or range power, whichever is higher. Your hunting bird also trips the target, causing them to become helpless. The target is slowed by 30% for 10 seconds, whether to make the saving throw or not. And the DC is based on your character level, wisdom modifier, and assassinate bonuses. Can I just say right here that the splashes with assassin and rogues is going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of like really cool build possibilities in this tree.
It's kind of interesting.
I see a lot of people using it.
I can't wait to try it out, and not just because it basically comes with a pet.
I was thinking for you probably like it a lot because it has a cosmetic companion basically that can kill things.
I'm also thinking like for some kind of a ranger build, this would be a great way to get a lot of DPS.
Sure.
Right, probably really fun for monks too, right, with the wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then of course, your divines as well.
There's a lot of stuff in here that could be interesting. Meticulous weaponry. You can choose either to have the up to 75% chance to negate item damage. You can also get a fletching version, which basically gives your ammunition up to an 80% chance of returning. Apparently, you can actually increase your ammunition by this. I guess I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that's what they were saying. Let's see. There's also an action boost, a sprint action boost, up to 40% movement speed for 20 seconds. Tier 3, here's your Killer Instinct 2. This is Wisdom modifier for damage. Also, your Tear Flesh, your bird attacks will also cause a bleed effect. It can stack up to 10 times and 1d6 damage for 2 seconds for 60 seconds. That's a long time. And 200% melee or range power. The active attack here is Strike for the Eyes, which is almost exactly the same as the one we just talked about, except it blinds the target, which causes them to become helpless, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because blindness doesn't normally do that. But there you go. But the damage and the slow effect are the same as before with the other one, as are the DCs. There's also here at Tier 3 conditioning. You get plus 5% to your hit points. There's also an ability Eyes the Eagle. You gain True Seeing. That's kind of neat. You can have True Seeing at level 3. There you go, folks. See, Tier 4, Deadly Instinct. You gain an Insight bonus to damage and DC of tactical feats equal to 1/2 of your Wisdom modifier for up to 120 seconds, with a cooldown of 20 seconds, 5 charges each per rest. And each attack from your avian companion has a chance to reset 1 charge. Cannot be trained if you have any other trance ability. I think what that's talking about is other things do the same thing but off a different stat. No Mercy, up to 30% additional damage to helpless opponents. Coordinated Strikes. This is another weapon attack or bird attack. It's +2 weapon damage, 10d6 damage that just scales with your power. It also attempts to blind the opponents. This seems weird to me because this ability seems to be less good than the one before it. But it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say until I go in and test it out. But yeah,
it also has it has a longer cooldown. The cooldown is a minute. All of these attacks have a 4.5 second shared cooldown, which I think is mostly a graphic issue for the bird to come back to you.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, it's
Makes
a large
sense.
area. That's what it is. It's an area effect, not just a single target effect. That's
That
what the
makes
difference
it
is.
pretty
Oh,
darn
yeah.
cool, I think.
Yeah, it is. Exposed weakness. Attacks from your hunting bird also reduce your target's fortification by 50%.
Wow, that's kind of nuts.
I like it.
Jeez.
That's not OP
That's-
at all.
Yeah, that might be too good.
You think?
I wonder how long it'll take them to knock it down to 25 or less.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot. Wow. I mean, it may not seem like much if you're thinking about like normal monsters, but if you're
for
talking about
bosses,
bosses, that's big.
yeah.
Shared vision, you're immune to blindness effects. Tier 5, plus 10 dangerous, you get 10 melee and range power. Mark the prey, you have learned how to spot weaknesses even the mightiest of foes. You make an attack plus 5 weapon on the target, marking it as prey. The marked target takes 10% extra damage from you and your allies for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 3 minutes, so long cooldown, but a pretty nice effect.
But from not only you, but also your allies.
Mhm.
So if you've got the whole party beating on something, that's pretty significant, I think.
Death from above. This is an attack that does 1, 3, or 5 weapon damage, and your hunting bird also attacks for up to 200 points of damage. It scales with 200% of melee range power. The target struck makes a fortitude saving throw, and on a failed throw, they die.
I love this.
This is the one that you can reset with other attacks. If you're, was it the capstone? It was the capstone. Yeah, it is capstone. So that's the one that can reset with other attacks. And throw the hunt. It's a melee or range attack, up to plus 5 weapon damage. If you hit, you also heal for up to 20% of your total hit points and positive healing. Does anyone else feel like that seems like a lot?
Yeah, it does.
It
'Cause
it does.
If
Yeah.
I've got 100% healing, 100 healing application, that's 40% of my health. Yeehaw!
That's
Yep.
And the cooldown is 20 seconds for melee and 30 seconds for
20.
ranged.
so it's like a 20-second heal basically.
And it's not that hard to get higher. Yeah, that's a lot of healing. Every 20 seconds, heal half your health. Woohoo! I'm on board. Let's see, some questions. So the hunting bird only attacks the first enemy struck by a missile fired with improved precise shot toggled on. You've only got one birdie friend, and you have to pick and choose the targets. It dive bombs. That accounts that the same applies to cleaves. It also counts for the area of effect bird attacked. It's centered on the first thing that you hit. They're referring to it around the office apparently as a bird fireball. Go figure.
There you go.
All right. Please
I like it.
discuss falconry.
Like it looks really like I just looking at this and comparing it to like the War Priest, I'm like, why? Like this looks like might
Better
be
than
better.
the War Priest?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's got melee to hit or wisdom to hit and damage. It's got a lot of really good bonuses. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe just that's kind of my first impression.
I mean, so even putting the pet aspect aside, this is, I think, really interesting. It's not like anything DDO already has, which I like having something different. It looks like you could get crazy insane DPS, and with that, I already forgot what it's called. Let me scroll back up the thing about the healing.
Yeah.
Already can't. You've got some healing built in there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be TRing, or somebody is going to try out this as soon as it hits. Probably my assassin. I think it's going to be time for her to reincarnate when this hits.
I feel like this tree is going to be better than any monk tree that I could choose from. Right? That's the thing that stands out to me the most is I feel like my monk is going to get... This is a better tree for my monk than any of the monk trees that I have. I mean, Shintao has some... I like Shintao and Henshin Mystic for a couple of the things that they have, but I mean, both of those trees for me are kind of they're all in trees. If you're all in, then they're good trees, but if you're kind of just dabbling in them, they're not really getting you a whole lot. So
Right.
I expect my monk to really go in here. If my rogue can find enough points to get the assassinate bonus, I'd probably do that, but I don't know if he can do that. That's got to be like 10 points to get that, so I kind of doubt I can get that in.
Now I'm looking forward to actually making a build specifically around this tree to see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still. Go ahead.
There's a lot of play here for like assassins, just because they're probably already focusing on assassinate. They have the assassinate bonuses. I think there's this strikes me as really good for ranged DC builds that are using like the paralyzing arrows. You got the wisdom stuff going on already for them. Now they can use wisdom to hit and damage, so they can focus more on wisdom as opposed to having to kind of dabble and like have balanced dexterity and wisdom. Plus, this has more card control stuff, slowing targets by 30%, blinding stuff. I mean, there's outright killing stuff. There's a lot of stuff there. One of the kind of a flavor of that build that I've seen a lot of late is an arcane archer druid using earthquake and stuff like that. This just gives them more stuff to play with. It's interesting to see what people come up with for this tree.
Yeah, it's the wisdom to hit and damage cleric players have been waiting for a long time. So I think it's one of the few, maybe one of the only stats left that hasn't been, they haven't allowed you to use to hit and damage for. But I'm kind of wondering how good it's going to be, because at first glance you might like see this and be like, oh man, my cleric has to go all wisdom now. But you still are going to have feat restrictions, like you can't get all the casting and melee feats. Sure. You can't. It's going to be hard to gear. You can't. Maybe not necessarily fit all your casting gear on at the same time as your melee gear. You can't hold a caster stick if you're swinging a great axe or something. So I don't know. There's some opportunity costs, but at the same time, if you wanted to dip in as a cleric to just get to hit and damage, there's a lot of really good stuff at the like tier 1, tier 2 that you can benefit from. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
All right, let's talk about White Plume Mountain and other tales. So update 39
White Plume Mountain? Yeah, that's a great area.
Update 39 is going to feature an adventure pack named White Plume Mountain and Other Tales. So there's 5 new dungeons, including White Plume Mountain, plus 4 more all-new tales of mad wizards and their works. So there's a loose theme here. The quest giver for White Plume Mountain is a gatekeeper in the Eberron Hall of Heroes near the Against the Slave Lords quest givers. The rest of the pack are in the area outside the Tower of the 12 on the road leading to Meridia. There's a transport NPC that will teleport you from the Eberron Hall of Heroes to outside the Tower of 12 and vice versa. There kind of actually already is for the and I can't remember the name of it.
The harbor one, yeah.
Well, no, the so there's the gatekeeper chain, the Multitude of Menace chain, and I can't remember the name of it, but the one that goes to the Tower of 12. I think it's
Multitude of Menace?
No, I think it's Subversion. Multitude of Menace, I think, is the one in House C, which is the...
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Anyways, there's already kind of one there that teleports you there, but hey, another one, woohoo. The quest, kind of a big deal. Level 6 and 21, a powerful magical artifact has gone missing. If it's not found quickly, it could cause pandemonium in this once quiet valley. Another man's treasure, also 6 and 21. Objects made out of pure platinum have unexpectedly turned up in Stormreach Dump, causing Descentum on the Kobold to scavenge there. Just sounds like a... Yeah, there you go. Well done. Memory Lapse, level 6 and 23. The famous wizard Terrence Hawksworth has organized his memory as a library. Each memory that was neatly filed away on the shelves until a rival wizard casts a spell that has brought chaos to his tiny mind. The stories here all sound pretty fun. Price of Freedom, level 6 and 25. Esoteric Order of Arion has built a very special prison specifically to contain lawbreakers who are talented in arcane arts. I think that's the quest that also apparently has a wand that allows you to cast low gravity on yourself. There's literally a thread that's how high can you jump. And White Plume Mountain, levels 9 to 32. I'm going to choose not to read the poem just because of time. But yeah, have fun on White Plume Mountain. Along with White Plume Mountain, so there's White Plume Mountain bonus items. So there's going to be the adventure pack, which if you're VIP, you get like normal for adventure packs. Otherwise, you'll have to purchase it or get a guest pass, or it's an adventure pack. All things that happen there. However, there are a set of complementary items focusing primarily around the sentient weapons and cosmetics released with the classic module. Note that the bonus items collection does not include any of the quests in the adventure pack. These things are sold separately. So there's the bonus items and the adventure pack. Completely separate. It kind of reads to me like a little bit of expansion light.
Right.
or super light,
That's a good
really.
way of
But,
putting it.
Yeah, they're looking to monetize the update a little more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably, I think I'm probably gonna definitely buy this to support them.
so what do you get out of this? You get the Cerulean Crown of Wave, crown made of ornate shells. The Cerulean Crest of Wave. It's an armor, blue and silver armor. Bears the Crest of Wave, a rare and powerful sentient item.
I'm getting ready to squeak.
The Tiny Giant Crab certificate. Can we just talk about this for a second? Tiny Giant Crab.
Absolutely.
Could you pick a lane?
Yeah. Patrick, I thought the same thing when I saw that. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Pick a lane, people.
I
Pick a
saw a
lane.
picture of it that looked pretty darn big.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe a giant crab is like 6 times the size of a player. So by giant crab standards, it's tiny, but it's still
I
pretty
know what they
freaking
mean, right? Like, it's a giant crab, and all of, like, they usually put, like, a small moniker on the front of these, but it's still kind of funny.
No, it's fine.
Also with this, you get 5 sentient XPs, sentient essences worth 1,000 XP each per server. All this stuff is, so the crab is bound to character, but once you use it, you can use it into, it will be delivered to the inventory of every character on your account the first time you log into the game world. Why? I'm not sure why I can't just, like, give it to one per server? Like the sentient XPs?
Mike Gildy and I were talking about that because you can't, if you've already got a pet, you can't add another pet that's identical
you have to throw it
the
out
stable anyway.
on everyone else, yeah.
And that makes me so sad every time I have to, trash a spotted wolf or something like that.
Yeah.
So why give us more crabs?
So that's the only one
maybe
that's
they-
bound to character, but you get it on every character. Everything else is bound to account. So the 5 1,000 XP sentient gem XPs. Also, the Falcon Universal Enhancement Tree will be here. So as with all non-expansion pack adventure packs, White Plume Mountain and other tales will be accessible to all VIPs. The bonus items bundle is only to be able to access by those that decide to purchase it with points. There's no indication that it's going to go away. It just can always be there. That's what it looks like. The Falconry Tree will be available at a future date as an a la carte purchase. There will also be ways to unlock the tree in-game on a per-character basis. We don't know what those is. Although, presumably, some measure of favor would be along there. But
Do we know what faction
Right.
the White Plume Mountain quests will give you favor for?
no, they haven't. I don't know if it's on Lammania, but nothing in here says it. However, the fact that it's going to be, I think it said the quest giver for White Plume Mountain is a gatekeeper. I would assume the White Plume Mountain would at least be a gatekeeper quest. The other
That would
ones
make
could be tower. It could be 12 or something else. I'm not sure. All right, there you go. White Plume Mountain and other tales. Anything else we want to say about that before we cruise through the rest of this stuff? Alrighty then.
No, okay.
Bonus days through Sunday, July 15th. You can get plus 25% Reaper XP and plus 5 VIP XP. That's pretty nice. The store sales for the week. The summer sales through July 19th. You get 35% off of Supreme plus 7 tomes, 50% off of the Dragonborn race and Bigby's hands, 75% off Hall of Heroes. If you are not able to get Bigby's hands, I do apologize. Evennote has bought all of the stock. They will hopefully be restocked soon. They're coming.
If you're Uncle Honest and you have spares, I'm kind of low on yellow ones compared to the others, so I'll buy yellow ones.
Mistwalker in the chat is saying the favor was 12 on Lammania. So, Hack and Stash sale is through July 19th as well. Always through July 19th. You get 25% off of Slater Boost, Loot Boost, and Treasure Hunter elixirs and select shared storage. If you don't have all the select shared storage, I mean, get it while it's on sale. Don't pay full price for it, but I recommend getting it. At least the item storage, sort of as much of the crafting storage as you need, and the plat storage is kind of nice too. But get what you can. I'd go for the item ones first. That's kind of my general recommendation. Also,
same here.
Traveler's Trunk will be available through July 19th, and you can get 5 lasting aid potions with the coupon code AIDME. Woohoo. Not one of the best ones, but hey, I actually bought it and I used them all already, so that's a win for me. Because usually that stuff sits in my shared bank. That's why I need so much shared bank storage. So
For me, those just get thrown away.
I mean,
But
there's
hey,
a
it's
couple
better
hit
than nothing.
points. I had a character who was running R1s at level 4 and stuff like that, and it's plus
Yeah,
1 to
I
hit
guess
and
low
damage. Yeah,
levels.
it's working. I got them and they're gone.
Hey, it's free, so.
There you go. Community news. The 291st Chronicle. You can check out the Amalgam Fighter by DDO Buildmasters. I did not do that, but I really like the name. That sounds pretty interesting. We also have the comment for the week. What is your most favorite companion?
See, I can't answer that because if I pick one, the other 113 will all get mad.
Well, see,
Mhm.
the first one I bought was I think the rat, and I still use that one just because no one else uses it, and it's probably because it's kind of ugly, but I don't know, I like it. It's kind of cute in an ugly way.
I like the Pet
I
Rock and the Invisible Companion. Looking at my two
Those are
favorites.
both good. Yeah, actually, I mean, I like the cats. Obviously, I'm a cat person. The one I find really interesting is that it was the promo air. I think it's the Dusty Air Alley because it seems to change colors depending on what environment you're in. It's not just sometimes it looks gray, sometimes white, sometimes black. I've seen it look orange and blue, and so that's kind of cool.
All right. Here's the guild for the week, and I feel like I need to give this a bit of a pitch. So I apologize for how bad of a pitch this will be. But here you go. Tired of questing by yourself? Annoyed of being in a huge guild so that nobody even knows that you are there? We have a solution for you. Join the level 71 Monster Ops Neutralization on Argonescent that has the biggest ship and lots of buffs, where you will still be questing by yourself, maybe, and we will have no idea who you are. If you like fun, casual runs, camaraderie, and creative minds that can help you design a character build that you can enjoy far more than you ever thought possible, then we are the guild for you. Warning, not all builds are created equal, and some take longer to produce lasting results than others. Great warning.
Very
At least
creative.
they're honest. I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see, fan site news. So Shoemaker had episode 111 of DDO Wiki Talk. We got a shout out for our episode last week. Damsel DDO got a shout out for episode 92. If you're not listening to them, stop listening to this show and go listen to them. They're better. Unless you want the news. They're much more entertaining than me. I just kind of drag on at the same monotone level. And I get people to join me so I don't sound so monotone. Let's see. Fridays on Ice with Bachelor Gore, Bard Life with Glendower, and DDOPL all have new episodes. And you can watch Brighter Days Ahead Guild as they enter the Devil Battlefield, and watch Inside the Magic Circle with Tone Station as well.
One thing I want to point out about the damsels is I was watching their show and I didn't even realize it's one of the disciples of Rage Quests that Gold Scuttle talks about kobolds having needs, and he means exactly what you think he means. And I had totally missed that when I ran that until I watched their show, and now I'm just like I've got the mental image of what the hell does he do with all those strings of prayer beads I've given him over the years, and I don't think I want to know.
Lessa, Mithri, and Saba all have very good and fun personalities, but they're all very different. So that when you put them together, it's like magic in a bottle.
Magic.
So
No, they're great. They are.
a lot of fun. And I play with them on some other games as well, and it's pretty entertaining, the conversation that goes back and forth, particularly in a tactical situation. It's a lot of fun to watch. Play anything. Let's see. Events. If you're attending Gen Con in Indianapolis this year, that's August 2nd to the 5th, have fun. Also, if you're close enough to Indianapolis, they're hosting an official player meetup on Friday, August 3rd from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern at Social on McRae. Besides hanging out with fellow Dungeons & Dragons Online and Lord of the Rings Online players, you'll have an opportunity to chat with them, pick up swag, win prizes, and have serious fun. You must be over the age of 21 to enter the establishment. There is a cash bar available. It's the same place they were at last year, but this time they're official and they've actually rented it out for 3 hours.
That's really cool of
They
them
were
to do.
they were great to us last year. Last year it was supposed to be at the Omni Severn, and we got there and they had something else going on, and they filled to capacity and were turning people away.
No, it
And
happens.
I had been following Jerry because I get lost. And on the way, like walking over, we had seen Social. It wasn't open yet, and Jerry's like, "I'm gonna go check that place out. If they can accommodate us, I'll text you. Lead everybody over there." And they were just fantastic to us. They were great. So I'm really glad we actually not only have the place, but officially have it to ourselves for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's really awesome of them to do that. And there'll be people there. Jerry will be there. I believe some other DDO celebrities from the podcasting world will also be there as well. But I don't want to promise things of other people that I have no control over. But I think other people.
I'm considering going. It's not too far away from me, so
Yeah.
Oh, you totally should.
it's about a 5-hour drive for me. So I don't know. Maybe.
It's a lot further than that for me. Although I'm riding with somebody and we're actually leaving from somebody 6 hours further away than I am. But yeah.
I've never been to Indianapolis, so it's a definitely a good excuse to get down there.
Make it a weekend, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about making it a weekend.
You can do that.
Then if you're gonna do that, start looking for a hotel now. Now.
I'm actually going on a vacation, and I was trying to time it to go through the things that I'm actually going on vacation for, because last year Gen Con was like 2 weeks later or something like that. Something weird.
Yeah,
and
this year it was like 2 weeks earlier.
last year the timing would have worked that I would have been able to kind of drive through it on my route, but they didn't time it well for me this year, so I didn't. Anyways, DDOCast news. DDOCast Splat. We will be back the week after next week. We should be back for that. And I just mentioned I'm going to be on a vacation, so there may not be a show for a couple weeks in August. Sorry. And it's not as simple as me having people host like I have in the past, because I won't be around to produce a show. So there may not be a show for a couple weeks. Apologies. Enjoy the time not listening to my voice. We'll be back. We might have a couple weeks off. I'm still not sure what that's going to look like. But there you go. All right. Lightning Post. We're at an hour. We almost made it. Let's see. Dis commented and corrected us. We're talking about Slayer areas last week. The Eerie Forest Slayer area. You only needed 3 dragon gems. The essences are only required to enter the Sealer Souls quest. Yeah, that sounds right. So thank you for correcting us on that. I thought that might be what it was, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember. It's been as long as I've done it. Let's see. Fuzzy Duck 81 wrote in, said another unique feature of Nectarin is all the red and pink. They seem to have used up almost the entire supply. He also corrected us on mummy rot. So the way it works now is if you don't cure disease at the initial infection stage, it becomes full-blown mummy rot that requires the curse removal, then the remove, disease, heal, panacea. Previously, there was no infection stage. Disease immunity does not work against the rot, but it does block the initial stage now. So now paladins are effectively immune once more. There's still Mummy's Curse as a separate effect, though that has incoming positive energy, which can apply even if he has disease immunity, but does nothing to block repair spells if you benefit from them. That's why we're forged the Master Race. Likes the change they made to Orchard to let the shield parts have a chance to drop in the rare chest. Yeah, that's really kind of nice. As well as tap the weapon tome parts as well, too. So those shields still help well against some of the newest gear. It's because there's not a lot of shields. So they also all have unique effects. He likes Death's Door for the wannabe Death Knights. Yeah. He tries to take a point of taking a stroll through the subterranean to find Garamol. The secret is to look at the ruins. If there's a single one on one side that looks like a sideways G, that's the direction you need to go. And you just keep going that way and you'll end up there. Yeah, there you go. He also mentioned in the Eerie Forest, to get the vampire rare, you have to kite rats onto his altar and kill them to wake him up. Which, yes, is a fairly unique mechanic. That's a great point because we completely glossed over that. See, the Stormhorns is a fun area, another interesting enemy type with the Harpies, since they have some AI that will behave differently and cooperatively depending on the number of them present. The Red Dragon has unique dialogue if you're wearing Red Scale. It says, "How dare you come before me wearing the skins of my brethren?" Which will bypass the normal intimidate and diplomacy options. I assume it means he's going to try to kill you. Seems to be a normal reaction, right? All right, there we go. Let's close out the show here. At least this part. Evennote, you want to plug some stuff?
Sure. Streaming with Even is every Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/DDOstream. Also, Remove Annabelle's Curse, or D&D night, is returning to DDO Stream next Sunday, July 22nd at 7 p.m. Annabelle is still very unlucky. Now she's cursed, and we've got to go help her. So that's also twitch.tv/DDOstream at 7 p.m. And then end of July and the beginning of August, I'm going to take a break from streaming with Even because I'm going to be on vacation. But then I'll be
that
back.
time of year, isn't it?
Yep.
Axel, what do you got going on?
I just made a War Priest video yesterday on my YouTube channel. I'm a DDO YouTuber for you all who aren't aware. So you can check me on YouTube, Axel's DDO channel. You can follow me on Twitch at AxelAlexK. I normally put all my videos on Twitter as well. So I'm definitely going to make some videos. I'm planning to in the next few weeks because we have a lot of stuff coming up with Update 39. So it's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yes, indeed. All right, so thanks for everyone for listening to the show. Thanks to my guests for joining me today and all the contributors for DDOcast, to Standing Stone Games, the Wizard of the Coast, and to Cyberbears for hosting the podcast. If you would like to support the show, you can find us on, you can go to our website, DDOCast.com. You can support us on Patreon there as well, which you can find through that. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, you can email me at ddocast@gmail.com. I would love to get that set up for you. Also, if you'd like to be part of the show, have a comment on this episode, question you'd like to hear us answer, or a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, leave a comment, email me. You can also hit up DDOcast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff. You can also find us on social media and join us for the latest cast updates at DDOcast on Twitter. So stay tuned for part 3 of our Slayer areas discussion with Evilbeeker. All right, welcome back to our discussion on Slayer areas. We are on part 3. We get to hit the epic ones today. This is where stuff really gets fun. Returning with
and
me,
hard.
yeah, also that. Returning with me is Evilbeeker.
Hey everyone.
All right, so last time we finished up the heroic stuff with Slayer areas. Now we get to go into the epic levels, which Slayer areas start to get used a lot more here, partly because there's fewer quests to choose from, but there's a pretty sizable number of Slayer areas to choose from. They've got great XP compared to some of the other stuff. You also get into most of these scale based on how many people are in your party.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think all of them do. So that kind of helps things. Whereas before, a lot of these, it doesn't matter how many people are in your party. You're talking about the ones all in Weaver's Refuge. None of those scale based on how many people are in your party. But here, you get more people in your party. You get larger groups. You kill things faster. You kind of get through things a lot faster. So.
And it'll be, and when you go into these on Epic, your first couple of Slayer capstones, 10, 25, 50 kills, you're not going to get very much. The numbers start getting a little better when you get to 1, 2, 4, 750, 1,000, where then you're pulling down, over 40,000 XP per goal.
Yeah, throw in some potions and yeah.
Or just divide and conquer.
Yeah.
3 guys go this way, 3 guys go this way. You can crank out the Slayers in a short order as long as you don't get killed.
I mean, just to kind of give you an idea of why some of these areas are more popular. You're talking about, we were just last time talking about the stuff in House Cannith. And if you were to get 7,500 kills in the officer workshops or research facility, each of those would net you 220,000 XP, which is a fair chunk. But there's not a ton of mobs. That's going to take you a while, right? We start talking about the King's Forest, which is a larger area. Has a respawning portal, which we'll talk about. You get all the way to 7,500 kills, and you're going to get a net of almost 700,000 XP.
Well, and
It's
actually,
a huge difference.
there is something that we kind of skipped over. So I'm looking at the wiki right now. When you're talking about 7,500 kills, until you get to quests that are, over 15th level, they don't offer that. So, for example, the Red Fens, you can go to 7,500, but Anorexia's Haven, you can only go to 1,000 or 1,500. So
even some of the areas after King's Forest, you can't go that high.
right,
caps.
But Orchard, the Devil's Battlefield, Stormhorns, Artificer's Workshop, those you can go to 7,500, and you can pull down some serious XP. But then in epics, you're always able to hit that goal if you really want to, run it out. But I think before a lot of people get to 75, they usually reincarnate, unless it's a cap character that they keep there all the time.
Well, let's talk about King's Forest, which is a big area.
Yep.
Lots of mobs to kill. But the defining thing about King's Forest and why it's really popular for Slayers is there's a particular encounter, Grim Disturbance, where there's a wizard and has a portal, and out of that portal spawn drow. And they keep spawning until the wizard's killed. So what people do is you'll have someone grab aggro of the wizard and then go and hide, kind of use the terrain. You can oftentimes get him kind of stuck where he just sits there and tries to shoot you, but can't because he's shooting through rocks and trees and stuff. And everyone else just kills the drow in the portal. And you do it that way, and you get a full party of 6 people, so you get larger spawns there. I mean, you can get 5,000 kills in an hour.
Right.
With a Slayer pot. So it's really good XP doing that. Get a Slayer potion in there as well.
There's 2 dragons.
There are 2 dragons.
There's 2 green dragons. They are, if you're not expecting them, they're a huge surprise. I remember walking in on the first one. It's like, whoa. Wait a minute.
And we're not talking giant holds, Tor. We're talking dragons.
We're talking actual real dragons.
Big dragons.
So one of the things that we got with Underdark and Shadowfell and going forward from there was a lot more dragons. I mean, not a lot more, but before that we only had the one in Korthos and then the Vault of Night, and that was it.
I didn't kill that one. There was one in Archaics Valley, 2 actually.
That's you're correct. There's one there.
There was a lot more dragons. I think they actually did some work on dragons when Medicine Underdark came out too, because they were putting more dragons in and stuff like that.
Yep.
In any case, King's Forest, very large area. There is a checkpoint, which you will probably want to get to, and then you have to get to the Underdark. You have to get to the Underdark in its useful area, you have to go through the King's Forest.
You have to go. It's on the far side of the King's Forest. So the good news is if you're going to do the quests out in the King's Forest, you take the quest, you go into the King's Forest, and you just follow the arrow.
Yeah.
I mean that'll help you. Even if you don't have the map exposed, at least that way you can find the quests. After a couple of times you probably know where they are, but some of them aren't the easiest to find. There's one that isn't far from the entrance, which is great. I mean, everybody will do that one, but the other 2 are a little bit out there.
They're a jog.
But yeah, and it does. And as far as the path for this Slayer area, like what's the best way? To me, there isn't one. You go here. I haven't been here before. You go here. You haven't been there before, or you have a wiki copy of the map up and you try to find all the. And out here it's scrolls. No, it's discs out here too, isn't it? Yeah, it's discs out here.
Yeah.
And if you find all the discs, then it opens up the map for you.
There's like 40 of them.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a
There's
lot.
quite a there's a lot.
It takes a while. But it's got great XP for Slayers when you're utilizing the Grim Disturbance and stuff. So
Yeah, base XP is over 500,000 for 7,500. So if you find yourself out here, a lot,
Yep.
that's a huge chunk of change.
absolutely. All right. So through the King's Forest is the Underdark.
Mm-hmm.
Not a popular place to go. Again, great. The atmosphere here is great. It's not particularly beautiful because you're underground, but it's very well done.
If you're a D&D nerd, you need to go to this place because the first time you see a purple worm, it freaks your socks off. You're like, "What is that? Oh my god, it's a purple worm!" Ah,
that's what that looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's a quest that circles around the biggest purple worm in the Underdark. So, which we were talking about earlier, and it's a very difficult quest to find. That's the downside of the Underdark. Is it's learning this area is pretty difficult.
At least learning where you want to go to get to the places you're trying to get to. If you're just wandering around it, it's fine.
Yeah. Now there is and per its name, it's pretty dark down here. But if you can find the trader, and I always forget where he is too. You can find the trader.
If you're in the Evening Star Cavern, there's a portal to the Underdark. If you go in that portal, he's right there.
He's right there. Okay. So if you do what Patrick said, you get to the trader, you can actually get a pair of goggles that will illuminate the area.
They essentially give you dark vision.
Right.
Which is really neat, and I'm kind of sad that they didn't. It was one of those things that they had implemented, but the rest of it never really worked very well. But they left it in there, so you can run around with dark vision on, and it's kind of a fun experience.
And that helps a little, but it's still a very, lots of twisty, turny ramps going up and down, and then there's the occasional spell ward that you bump into, and then drow jump out and kick your butt. So.
Not a popular place, and I think the biggest part is the biggest part of it is it's just hard to navigate.
Right.
People don't know where to go and don't really have a reason to learn it.
Right.
And I mean, you've got other options that most people consider better, like King's Forest, for getting XP and stuff.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, and it's also important to note that the Underdark also links up to the next one on the list.
Shindlerin.
Shindlerin, yeah. So I've heard that pronounced about 20 different ways.
I like to call it Shindy Town.
Shindy Town, there you go. Well, I think we call it for Shizzleville.
Shindlerin is a much smaller. Underdark and King's Forest are both sizable. I think Underdark's a little bit smaller. Shindlerin gets way smaller. It's a much more compact area. There are areas where you can fall and die. Permadeaths beware. I was going to mention that for Restless Isles and forgot to. But like Restless Isles, and Shindlerin has areas you can fall off of and you're dead. If you're permadeath, you're dead.
Yeah, if you don't have Featherfall in some of these areas, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, some of the explorers are over those. You have to jump over those gaps.
Yeah, and this is an area where you have the House of Broken Chains, the House of Death Undone. Those drow quests. That's where this area.
They're not too hard to find though. Again, it's a fairly smallish area, pretty confined. I usually get a lot of the explorers on my way to the quests, which helps. So good little spots. You might find me in here after the fact if I'm close to a level, and I'll. Particularly if it's a level that I'm going to get some gear, like level 26, I might pop into the Shindlerin and or Demon Web and kind of get over that hump, kind of a thing.
Yeah, the quest, the XP in here is really good as well.
There are multiple tracks. There's 2 different tracks for killing stuff in here in Shindlerin. Drow and spiders, basically. Again. Very well done place. A different kind of beauty, if you will. Right, should we talk about the Demon Web?
If we have to.
I like the Demon Web.
Yeah, it's okay. I it's okay.
This is level. I don't think I mentioned it. So Underdark and Shadowrun are level 22, range 20 to 26. If I didn't mention it, King's Force is 21, range 20 to 25. Demon Web is level 23, range 20 to 27. The reason why people tend not to like this area is it's a series of islands with web bridges. However, depending on what, I think there's 3 iterations.
Right.
And the web bridges change a little bit. And if you fall, you end up teleported to a random, it's like pseudo-random location.
Yeah, there's a formula to it. I'm not quite sure what it is.
It's the same one every time. Like if you it depends on the instance where it's going to teleport you to, and each point will always teleport you to the same spot on the map.
Right. So you get a little bit of a taste of what the Demonwood's like when you run that series of quest chains to take you to the Forgotten Realms. Because you have to run through there. That's where you see Elminster, and you see Loth fighting the other version of Loth, and then you're in the Forgotten Realms. Well, they take you back to the Demon Web for quite a few quests. So there's a whole chain of quests in the Forgotten Realms. What is it, like 12 quests, Patrick? Plus the raid.
Talking about the Evening Star stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. And then Caught in the Web is the raid.
I think that's the 12th one or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, right? But you're looking at, I don't know, like 30 of these islands that are just kind of dotted all over the place.
I think it's more. I don't think there's an explorer point. I think each island has its own explorer point.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the map right now, and it's a lot. It's probably over 30. But some of them some of you try and jump, you don't make it. Yeah, it can be a little bit of a trial.
I think I want to say there's no more than one. Each island has one explorer point, and there's 40 explorer points based on what I'm looking at on the wiki. So, it can be a little challenging to navigate. It's actually not too terribly bad, because you can learn it, and a lot of the bridges actually don't move. There's just a couple of them that can move. So there's some that are always there.
Right.
Some people just choose to walk off the edge until they get teleported to where they want to be. It's fine.
Yeah,
there are 3 quests out here that you have to get to. Although if you do going between Trial by Fire and deal with the demon.
Yeah, there's 2 that are really close.
There's always a path between the 2 of them.
Right.
Because of where they are, the path always exists between the 2, so that's not too bad. And the other one has a spawn point right next to it, so it's not too bad either. I actually kind of like this one a lot though for like getting that hump XP, just because you can just jump off the map and end up in somewhere random that you haven't been before a lot of times, which kind of makes getting across the map to a new area that you haven't gotten explorer points for pretty easy.
Sure.
So it's kind of a way to do it. All right, High Road and Epic, level 24, range 20 to 28. It's very similar. I think the rares are a little bit different, but I'm not entirely sure.
Just in power level.
Are they?
I think the rare. I think otherwise they are identical. This is
at least in the Epic version, you have to find one of the rares to get one of the explorer points.
Oh no, that's in the heroic too.
Is it okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because one of the Yanti rare, when you leave the Yanti rare cave, it puts you on a ledge where one of the scrolls is, and that's the only way to get that scroll. So, and that explorer points to get you to 12. Otherwise, you're stuck at 11. This is a good one for XP. It's not the greatest. I mean, there are better ones as far as XP goes, but if you're looking for something to solo really quick, in a quick run, this is a good one. This is actually a good solo one, even in heroics, where you can go through. I mean, the toughest rare is going to be the 2 brothers, the gigantic bear and the evil druid. So other than that, it's a good, and it's just also a way to maybe test your mettle a little bit in epics. You hit epics, you jump in here right away and say, okay, how do I stack up against epic level opponents?
Yeah. There's you can go away all up to 7,500 kills on this one, which again is one of the few ones you can actually do that on. But it certainly is a little bit harder out here. There are several quests out here, which again, I find it pretty easy to grab a couple explorer points on the way to the quests. I usually actually leave the there's like 2 or 3 explorer points that are really close to the entrance that I'll go. I kind of leave there intentionally. So hopefully I remember when I'm. Oh man, I'm only. Oh wait, I can go get 1,000 XP I need to level from this place.
Sure. And it's also important. Again, like the heroic version, you get commendations while you're in here, and actually the commendations are the same. There are no heroic or versus epic. So even if you hit epics and you're 2 commendations short of something, you can still jump in. You don't have to go back to the heroic. You can just jump right into the epic and get the commendations there.
Let's see, that'll take us to the Ruins of the Giant Hold on Epic, much the same as the heroic version, except there are again 3 tracks for slaying. However, they are not by area this time. In the heroic version, it's kind of by their division, so to speak, and kind of the areas. In Epic, it's giants, other races, and dragons. Dragons gets their own.
Yes.
And this is actually a really funny one, because the first thing, the number of kills you need to get for dragons is drastically different. Like the first one is literally 1, and then it's 2, and then it's like
2,
4 maybe.
Something like that. I think it might be 5.
What's really funny though is if you have a Slayer pot on, when you kill your first dragon, you would get 3 kills, but it only gives you the XP for killing the first one.
Yeah.
So you will get the next time you kill a dragon, it will like backtrack. You don't lose the XP if you have a Slayer pot. It just doesn't hit at the time it's supposed to. It's a little weird.
Right. There are some of these areas are a little bit tough.
Yeah,
there's the dragons aren't pushovers, and there's one area where you can literally be swarmed by like 40 giants. And if you're not ready for it, boy, you can get pummeled pretty quickly.
This was one of those areas that was really fun when there was that bug where like you'd aggro one thing and the whole entire map would come to you.
Yes.
It was great for doing Slayers. This is not a great Slayer place just in general.
But if you're not expecting 40 dragons or 40 giants, even hill giants, it's a little bit punchy.
I do think it's a little amusing here that, like on the wiki, there's a chart that breaks down how much XP you get for dragons. They don't have the 3,000 dragon kills filled in.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dragon kills in there. Holy cow.
But because the dragons, and they always appear in the same spot. One of them isn't too far from the entrance.
They move around a little bit. I've seen the same one in different spots.
Oh no! You can see the same one in different spots, but there's always a specific spot.
Oh, okay.
So there's one when you come in off to the right. There's one by Madstone Crater. There's one down the hill from the entrance. There's always a chance in a certain spot, but it's usually, I think there might be 4 different named dragons. I'd have to get a confirmation of that.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I should mention. Sorry, I said 3,000. It's not actually 3,000 dragon kills. It's a number much less than that because again the numbers scale differently.
Right.
Should have mentioned that.
But the XP is great. If you're going in there in low epics, I wouldn't go alone. But and you do obviously you need to go through these areas to get to the epic versions of the Giant Hole quests.
It's a fun area, just like its heroic version.
Yep.
Another area that has an epic version and heroic version, 3 Barrel Cove.
So if you're not expecting it the first time you go into Epic Three Barrel Cove and suddenly there's a bullseye on the floor beneath you. So I literally went into this quest, into this area probably 10 minutes after it went live.
Nice.
And I'm like, what's that? And then I'm dead. So in
yes,
case
you
you
fight
didn't know,
airships.
in case you didn't know, you fight airships, and they can bombard you from space, basically. And unless you find a cannon to shoot them, you basically run away. I don't know how well invisible works. I don't remember. It's been a while, but I
actually
remember
find them a little tedious, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I had my toughest character. I went out there. I think I lasted 2 minutes. So I think you can run through on invisible, and if you don't want to deal with it, but it's
it is a surprisingly good Slayer area for getting kills, and it's not one that's utilized very often.
And one of my favorite items comes out of this Slayer area, and that's the Mutineer's Blade, which will come out. I don't know if it comes out of a specific rare chest or if it's just any rare chest that's out there. Great undead fighting rapier.
It is worth noting, though, that you do get named items out of these chests.
Yes.
In Three Barrel
Cove. Yeah, that's not the only one. Yeah, the Mutineer's Blade isn't the only one. There's quite a few other ones. So, and that's something you really don't see a ton of before this.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the Slayer area goes, now I'm not even talking about the quests in these Slayer areas. So, in fact, this one might have the most. Now that I'm thinking about it.
For named items, you mean?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah.
There's only one other one that I know of that really drops named items. I'm not sure if Barovia does or not, but
no, see, I haven't seen any in Barovia.
I think it does.
But the Sands drops a couple of name items, but that's heroic, not epic. But yeah, it's a little bit, lots of orcs to fight. They've basically taken over the place.
The airships are worth fighting at least once.
Yeah,
it's not that they're not fun; it's that they're a little tedious. And if you're alone, they can be a lot harder because they throw a bunch of mobs at you.
Actually, there is something cool in this. Now that I'm thinking about it, is watching the orcs zip line.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Down the chain. So what the airships do is when they want to deploy their troops, they shoot down these chain ropes, and then the orcs kind of zip line down. So if you want to prevent that from happening, you go over and you just start chopping on the chain.
But if you're alone, it can be a little harder to do because you're dodging blasts and trying to shoot the airship with a ballista, and it gets a little crazy. There's better airships do not scale solo very well.
Right. So it is as far as that goes, it's kind of a unique Slayer area because you don't really see anything quite like that anywhere else in the game.
Yeah. All right, if we're done talking about Three Barrel Cove, this is what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna do one more. We're gonna cut this into one more segment because there's just a few too many to talk about, and it'll make this part too long if we talk about them now. And if we go too much farther, it'll make the next one too short. So we're gonna cut it here.
All right.
Yes. And we'll come back next week to finish with the last couple of ones. So thanks for listening. Join us next week. We will finish up our Slayer areas discussion. If you want to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. You can also find show notes, past shows, and more on our website. And find us on social media. I'm at DDOCast at Twitter. If you'd like to join this discussion or leave a comment, or you can email us at DDOCast@gmail.com. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.